We're going to hear from some experts who have been looking at the relationship between shorebirds and their habitat and farming for almost 60 years. I'm here just west of the Coromandel Peninsula on the western shores of the Firth of Thames at a place called Pūkorokoro Miranda. This is an internationally important site for shorebirds. It's also a key dairy farming area in the Waikato. You'll hear from members of a local shorebird trust undertaking the annual shorebird census and a local dairy farmer who's lived here for almost 15 years. Hi there, I'm Tim Brandenburg and I'm the North Island manager for the Living Water Partnership between Dock and Fonterra.
Because shorebirds don't know what the boundaries are. They don't know where conservation land is and where it isn't. They know what they like. And one of the things they like is really short grass. So today I've counted about 600 oystercatchers in the fields behind a bunch of cows, a couple hundred stilts, as well as paradise ducks.
The shorebirds that are sort of sharing all the margins with us, all what margins of our waterways and so forth, need some space. They need some space for their purposes. But our Gotwits and Pied Oystercatcher often use fields from time to time. Most of the time that's after a lot of rain, when the paddocks are wet. Particularly oystercatchers will be maybe foraging in there, but a lot of birds will just use the paddocks to roost during the high tide.
Obviously birds are very clever. They observe where animals are and they know what's good, and I believe that the cattle bring insects up with their foot movement when they're grazing. Behind me here there's a crop of chicory. It is generally favoured by ducks, but also the shorebirds do go in there, and currently there's a little mob of oystercatchers in there. They've just arrived and clearly they've found something to their liking in there.
Intertidal zone has largely disappeared as the mangroves have expanded, so all the areas of shoreline have now been taken over by mangroves, so birds are either feeding in the mudflats or as they come into roost they're forced into the paddocks basically. Miranda's special for shorebirds because of the range of feeding habitats here. Not only is the mudflats out at low tide, but at high tide there's also the option to come onto the farmland and feed, particularly over the winter.
They really like visibility, and so whether it's just out here where there's lots of water and they feel safe because it's really visible, or whether it's in a ploughed paddock or a munched up paddock behind cows, it's nice, it's clean, great visibility, and that's where and close to the shore, and that's where you'll find shorebirds.
Well, the National Wader Census in New Zealand has been running since the early 1980s, but the counts for the Firth of Thames and Manukau Harbour started in 1960. Longest data set for any shorebird population counts anywhere in the world.
There's a joy in the being outside, a joy in the counting, and then you know you're contributing to this massive data set that helps all of the species so that we can know what's going on with them.
If you want to know about Living Water, go to our website, livingwater.net.nz. We're involved in projects all over New Zealand, so if you want to know more, subscribe to our YouTube channel.